my name is Anne and this is Toby. And welcome to a Tobyknits Flosstube special. This is a stitch with me. What is a stitch with me? I'll tell you. Since you asked so nicely, we're going to stitch a project together for the next 5 weeks. I think this is week 2. Last week I started it live. This week it's pre-recorded. I want to see what you think, which one you like better, because I feel like I have more control over the image, the clarity, and so on if I record it on my phone versus if I put it out live. It's not, I'm not sure. What do you think? Do you prefer it when I'm on live and you can chat with me? Or do you like just listening to me drooling away and stitching? I don't know which is the best way to do it. So I need your help. You have to tell me. I could possibly do a live next week. The problem is I have to fit them around my husband's schedule, because when he's off or he's working on nights, we tend to spend a lot of the day together and do stuff. So it's hard for me to give up an hour or two to do a live when he's at work, or when he's at work. It's easier. And he does shift work, so sometimes he's on days, sometimes he's on nights, so it's just really hard to plan sometimes. This is easier for me, but I do love the live and having the interaction with you. So anyway, what are we going to do today? I've picked out all the comments that I got from Wednesday's Flosstube. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. That's just my normal Flosstube. I do one every Wednesday. And so I thought I would go over some of the comments and the questions, and we can have a little Q&A while I'm stitching. I am stitching on this, which is the Happy Easter, which is the Cotton in Twine February, which you can still get. And this I want to do for Easter, which is in 5 weeks. So that's the whole point of doing this 5 weeks. And I'm doing it slightly different to my normal stitching, where I give each stitchy project a day to work on in the week. This one I'm giving an hour a day, Monday to Friday. And I'm going to show you now what I got done. Because last week, when we did the live, all I got stitched was the word Easter. So let me show you what I've done since Monday. Okay, so last week when I started the Stitch Along live, I just managed to get the word Easter done. I always like to start in the middle and then work my way over or up. And so that was last Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look how much I got done. Oh, that's just an hour a day. Isn't that lovely? Look at those colors. I mean, it's so much nicer than the actual photograph. Not that the photograph's a bad photograph. It's very pretty. But just look at these colors. Are they not gorgeous? Look at these beautiful little flowers. I'm trying to think of what flower that is. I feel like I should know. But anyway, so that was a whole little section in this egg. And it's still Friday, so it means I still have my hour to do. So I was going to stitch the bunny, but I think I might leave the bunnies till the end. And I think I'm going to come up here and then go all the way around like that and do the bunnies and the happy at the end. So I'm going to go up there now and start working on the next little sprig of flowers. Now, I did have a little bit of a difficult time, make sure that's in shot, with this when I first started it. And yeah, I had a little tiny bit of a hard time with it in that the symbols, one of the symbol for the blue flowers here, these lovely blue flowers, is an S. And the symbols for these little green flowers is a 2. And my problem is I'm dyslexic a little bit. So, let me just see where I'm meant to get going here. I stitched all the S's in the number 2 color because I really didn't know what I was doing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I messed it up and had to pull it back when I realized, wrong color. So I don't particularly like that when symbols and colors are very similar. A 2 is very similar to an S to me, so. But that's okay. It just means I've got to pay attention. Just have to pay attention. I'm hoping this is in shot for you still. Yeah, I did make it a bit bigger so you could hopefully see. So as long as I keep my hands where we are, I think we'll be fine. So, did you all watch Wednesday's Flosstube? I hope you did. Gave me a thumbs up. And I had a couple of really nice comments, and I wanted to talk to you about those comments that I got. So the first comment, well, actually, I don't know which was the first. I just took them from top to bottom. So Carol, definitely bag for the cross stitch. It will be so cute. So if you watched last week, I did an unboxing from Cotton and Twine. So this is their February, and I got the March. And the March is a really cute little woodland scene with a bear and an owl and a fox and all that kind of stuff. And they, it's really cute, and it's to be made into a pillow. It will make a very small pillow, but that's fine. And they send you everything to make it into the pillow. I think by the stuffing, or the pillow form itself. But anyway, so you can do that now. What I'm going to do here, and I often do this, if I show you on this, because I can't use the... So I've just done this little tiny leaf, and I need to go over there, but at the moment I don't want to drag my yarn all the way. So what I'm going to do is, I think they call it parking, but I don't want to unthread it and start again. So I'm just going to pull it up anywhere and take it off the needle and leave it. And then I'm going to come in with this, the leafy green, the dark green that comes past this leaf and goes up, so that then I can use these stitches to hide my thread to go to that one. If that makes sense to you, great. So I need another color. I need an L. So, and again, I will do the knot, whatever this is called. The loop method. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's this really, it's a really cute, and I ummed and ahed, do I want to make it into a pillow or do I want to do a cross stitch bag with it? And I feel like I want to do a cross stitch bag. Or even it would be fun to do it as a knitting bag even. Anyway, so Carol said yes, bag. Carla, because I was just telling everybody how cross stitch is my #1 love, and that knitting has been taking a bit of a kicking. And now here again, I'm not finishing these 2 crosses off because I want to come down to pick up the lower ones before I can then go all the way up, because I don't want to travel too far backwards and up and down and bring new yarn in just for that. So I was telling everybody that. And so Carla says, if it was just me, I would devote more time to your #1 craft. The knitting is not as enjoyable for you. In actual fact, now that I've pared down my projects, and I was going to do that with my cross stitch, but I will I'll continue on for now with my daily stitches, but in April I'm going to switch and pick only 4 projects plus this to work on in April, and spend a whole week at a time on each item, Monday to Friday on each item, and then Saturday, Sunday is whip go. And that's what I'm doing with my knitting. I have just picked a couple of projects that I really am enjoying working on and spending all week on each one. So it's actually giving me back my mojo for knitting. Is that where I want to go? Yes, it is. Yeah, so Margaret said she was watching with her tea and stitching on her Flanders Field biscornu. I am dying to make one of those. Margaret, you need to put that in my Tobyknits and Friends group, which is, I call it my YouTube group. So it's everybody that watches my YouTubes, because you get to see what I'm working on. I don't get to see what you're working on. Whereas if you post it in that group, I get to see what you're working on. And about April, she said, you just said you're going to Nova Scotia, but aren't you going to Stitch North too? There'll be projects from there, just wondering. 100% I'm doing both, Margaret. I am going to Nova Scotia the second week of April to hang out with my son, Sean, and his gorgeous wife and little tinies, the lovely Leo. He's 3, and the sweet Sunny, who is 1. And then Stitch North is the very last weekend of April. So I am doing both. And that's another reason why I'm trying next month to do a project a week, because that way I'm not having to cart too many things with me when I go traveling. And one of there will definitely be, I want to buy something when I'm at Stitch North, because there is, I've always wanted to try, I love DMC, everything I use is DMC, which knots, as you can see. But I've always wanted to try fancy flosses, and over-dyed ones, the dyed ones where it's different colors. Oh, this is not a happy knot. There we go. Where it's a different color. And at Stitch North, there'll be a lot of that. There will be vendors, and I even think we get a specific chart to stitch while we're there. I have looked at it to see if I like it. I'm not sure I do, but I'm sure there'll be others there. And for sure I'm going to be buying something while I'm there, just for the reminder, just for the, you know, fact that it's my very first Stitch North. And I really want to remember it. So I'll definitely be buying something there, but that won't be a start. Well, I might start it there. You never know. I mean, we're there the whole weekend, so I'm going to be taking a bunch of projects with me. And one of my friends, Sue, said to me, oh, if you're nearly finished the owl or you're nearly finished one of your other projects, you know, bring them with you, because then you can ring the bell that to say you've finished. And everybody stops and looks at your finished piece. So I thought that was funny. So yes, I will be buying more that are there when I'm down there, of course, to work on. Pam said she does not need a pillow. She does not need a cross-stitch bag, but wow, would that ever make a beautiful sock knitting bag? And I have made bags before for Pam, because Pam and I do a lot of sock knitting, as you know. So, yeah, that wasn't my other thought, too. If I didn't turn that little stitch, it would make a nice, maybe a drawstring bag for our socks, just a small bag. Julie said she loved those little scissors that I showed you last week, those little tiny yellow ones. And she definitely thinks a bag. So I think we've had a lot more people say bag than pillow. And she's looking forward to Stitch Along. Is that what it's called? On Friday. Yes, and that's what we're doing today. And to see the progress you've made. I always have such fun and relaxing time watching your videos. Oh, thank you so much, Julie. That's so nice. I hope so. I want my videos to come over as if I was just popping in to have a cup of tea with you in your living room and having a chat, you know? Just a bunch of friends getting together. Oh, so you know I've gone too far. No, I haven't. Yeah, just a bunch of friends getting together, having a cup of tea and a chat and a stitch or a knit. That's what I really want my videos to be. And if I see something or find something that I think, oh, you might want to know about this, or you might want to get this, then I'm going to share it with you. It's all about the sharing and the love of what we do. Knitting or stitching. So, yeah. Now I need to do 4. And let's just make sure, am I in line? Yes, with that. Then Heather said definitely a bag. Those boxes are beautiful, very tempting. They are. I'm not kidding. I know I talk about them a lot and say how much I love Historical Sampler Company and Cotton and Twine, but I really, really do. You know, I know they do send them to me, and I'm very grateful for that, so that I can show you. But, oh, I mean, look at this. Who does not enjoy this? And you get so much stuff. It's definitely worth the money. And I've not seen a Canadian or US equivalent. I haven't. So, yeah, this is a wonderful company and a wonderful box to get. It's definitely worth it. Even if you just get one to try it. And they've got a special right now that if you're a first-time subscriber, you get 15% off. I will put the code on the TV, on the screen here, and then you can just use it. It's just definitely worth it, in my opinion. And Crystal said, I think a cross-stitch bag would be awesome finish for the Hello Spring. The hedgehog has me. I know, right? I love foxes and hedgehogs. Well, and owls too. I mean, come on. I just love them all. And the bear is so funny. I mean, imagine just walking through the woods and then, oh, there's a bear. Of course, that does happen here. I actually remember one year, I was coming home from work with my husband. This is when I worked. And we lived in Kempville at the time. In the town, like it wasn't in the country by any means. And as we turned the corner of our house into our street, there was a house on the corner that had a big tree. And I said to my husband, stop. And he stopped. He said, why? What's the matter? I said, there's a bear in that tree there. And sure enough, there was. And I was like, what do we do? Who do we call? Because it was literally in somebody's yard, in a tree. Now, it wasn't a big bear. It was obviously a baby. But, which shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be in the middle of the town, you know. So we had to call, I forget who we called. It must have been, I don't know, somebody. And we called the police. And, well, maybe we called the police and then they called the right people. Because obviously it was some proper group of people. Anyway, they came and they had tranquilizer dart. Well, the poor little bear kept going higher up the tree. And I thought, oh, how are they going to get this thing out? But they did it very nicely. We stayed and watched. We didn't go home. We stayed and watched. And they tranquilized it, and then they had like a big net underneath, and all four of them were holding the net, like the two police officers and the two natural resources. I think that's what it was. And the poor little wee guy fell, and then they took it, and I took pictures of it, but I mean, that's probably about 3 or 4 iPhones ago, so goodness knows whatever happened to that photograph. But yeah, we do occasionally get bears. Not in my backyard have I seen one, because we do back onto a 60 acres of brushland, woods, trees, and we get wild turkeys all the time. We had a porcupine last year. We have groundhogs all the time. We've had deer occasionally. But haven't quite seen a bear. We can hear the coyotes and the foxes at nighttime in the summer screeching at each other. That's fun. Not. Okay, wait now. Where am I? I have to pull you through so I can see. Okay, one more little uppy before we do something else. What else? So let's see. Mandy said, when is your next live? And Crystal also was saying, I was thinking the same. I was hoping we would stitch together on Fridays until Happy Easter Sampler is finished. Well, as I said earlier, it's hard for me to stitch live based on my husband's schedule for work. So this week is the recorded one. If you want, next week I can actually do a live because he's on days, so I'll be able to do it without being interrupted, and obviously we're not going anywhere. So if you're interested next week in doing a live, then we can do that. Or we can just do it like this where I'm stitching and talking to myself. But yeah, let me know what you like. I mean, to me, this is still a stitch with me. It's just not live, which in one way is a bit easier again for me, because, is that one or two there? One. I'm not having to keep looking at the questions or the screen. I almost like this one where I've typed out in advance all the questions from Wednesday's YouTube Flosstube, and I can just answer them for you. So again, we can do it this way or that way, whichever you prefer. Okay, then D Rose, so I don't know if your name is D or your name is Rose, so she loves stitching while watching Flosstubes with me. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm stitching around 12 whips, and so I have included Whip Go Wednesday into my week, and I love it. Good. I find having Whip Go on a certain day not necessary. Oh, I hate when it gets all wonky like this. Not when it's a number of hours or stitches. I just like having a stitch on a certain day of the week because it just frees my mind. I just know, oh, it's Wednesday, it's Wheel Wednesday. Oh, it's Thursday, it's Little Owl. And I don't have to think about what I want to do, because the nice thing about it is all those that I stitch, I love them all. There's not one that I think, oh God, I have to stitch this tonight. I love them all, and I cannot wait to get to them each week. But not really any of them want me to work on them all the time, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't feel like there's any particular one that I'm aching to work on more than any other. Yes, some of them I want to get finished more than others, but it's not the same thing. So I'm glad you've chose to do, I actually used to do Whip Go Wednesdays years ago, 2 years or so ago. I did it, my Whip Goes only on the Wednesday. And I used to do, the first 2 Wednesdays was the first number, and then the second 2 Wednesdays was the next number. But again, I didn't feel like just 2 days, 2 evenings, if you like, 2 afternoons, whenever you stitch, was enough to finish the project. So I much preferred having it as a Saturday for one Whip Go number and Sunday for the other Whip Go number. So it's more like Whip Go weekend. And the last question was from Rita, who said, if you do the cross stitch bags, will you do a tutorial? I don't know. The bags, when I make bags, gosh, where am I now? I keep losing my spot here. It's so hard because I have to keep the chart over the other side, over here, well, over there. You can't see it. So it's not in front of me, and I keep losing my spot. That's why I love Markup RXP, because it will just highlight the stitch that I'm working on, the thread that I'm working on, and not so So it's easier to see what you're doing rather than or where you're going next. Whereas when I'm going off the paper chart, and I did ask the lovely ladies at Historical Sampler, because I know they put PDFs out for the stitch-alongs that Historical Sampler do. The new one's coming up, end of this month, Secret Garden. Oh, that looks so stinking cute. From the little sneaky peeks I've seen. That they do PDFs obviously for that, but they don't do PDFs for the boxes, which is sad, but I don't mind working off paper charts. 1, 2, 3. I don't mind working off a paper chart. I've now since found, you remember a couple of weeks ago I bought that lap stand? Well, I don't like it. I'm going to send it back. It doesn't sit right on me. It's depending on if I'm on the couch or if I'm on the chair. It's not I got it because it had a little attachment that could hold your paper pattern, because I still have a lot of my old whips are paper patterns, and the cotton and twine ones are paper. And I just need something to hold the pattern for me. And it, I thought this would work. Anyway, I don't like it. It came with 2 clothespins. That's what you're supposed to hold the pattern on. The actual board thing was so small, it wouldn't even hold half a sheet of this. That was too big. And so yeah, it's not really working for me, so I'm gonna send it back. But then I found in my old cross stitch box, I had this magnetic sheet with little magnets, long magnets. One's a ruler that you put on, and you put the ruler line underneath the line you're working on. And I feel like it must have leaned on something, because there's nothing, it's just on its own. So I mean, I can put it on my lap and still see what I'm doing, but it would be nice to have. So I've been using, when I sit on the couch, this funny looking stand. So anyway, it's okay. I'm going to take it with me to Stitch North, because I can put it then on the table in front of me, because of course we're stitching at tables, right? And then I'm going to have a good look around the room to see all the stands and stuff that other people use. Okay, I think we're done there. That the other people will use to hold their fabric, to hold their patterns and charts, because not everybody uses not everyone uses what's the word I'm looking for, electronics, right, to do their what time is it? 2:49. How long have I been on? 30-something minutes. Yeah, not everybody. Let's do that guy. So I'm going to pull this guy out now. Thread it. Not everybody uses electronics, do they? A lot of people still do paper. How do you do yours? When you stitch, do you just stitch in your chair at home? Do you have a table beside you? Do you have a table in front of you? How do you do it? Okay, so I'm coming down to here. So I am going to bury this under here like that. Oh, there we go. Now I can go down here. And do this little bit. Yeah, I mean, I stitch on the couch usually at night or in the evening, in the afternoon. And I just plop everything beside me because it's a couch, right? So there's room. There's nobody else sitting beside me. And I sit up my iPad if I'm using the markup or not. Then I usually have, sometimes I'll hold the paper here in my hand, like underneath my thumb, and I'll hold the paper up here, but I have to fold it into such a small square to do so. And then after a while it hurts my thumb. I get terrible arthritis in my thumb, which is why I like a thin, small wooden frame to hold. It doesn't hurt my thumb as much. The big Q-snaps hurt my thumb. They're too big. And scroll frames, I do have some. And they're a little easier on the thumb because you cradle them in your arm. And I did at one time have a floor stand, but I lost it somehow. So again, I want to look to see what other people are going to use when I'm down at Stitch North. So our snow is melting like crazy, which is great. And we haven't flooded this year, which I don't mean as in our house or a Hello Bob and Me, but quite often the area that we live in will flood. Certain roads, if they're by the water, will flood. But that has not happened this year. So there, cool beans. It was gorgeous yesterday. I think it was 18 degrees, which is ridiculous. Today, I think it's only 10. But still, there. Yay! That's so sweet. Okay, got to mark it off now so I know where I've done. Okay, let's do the little S's. The S's that sometimes make me think they're 5s. 2s, I mean. So, I always save my little bits. If it's this long, at least, I don't throw it away. If it's quite smaller than that, I will. But I can do the waist knot on this to do one of the little flowers. Did you do the waist knot? Somebody showed me a really cool way to do a knot. And you think I can remember it? No. So I am going to be going, what's wrong with you? Stop flipping about. Where am I going to go? We've just done this one. I'm coming here. So, here? Am I up that far? No, I'm down. Wait. There's 2 lots of S's. See, it's messing me up. All right, we'll go here. So I'm going to stick this there. I'll put it there. The knot there on this side. And then I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, this in actual fact does is as I start to stitch over, you end up stitching over your piece here. So see, you stitch over it. It catches it, and then that way you're not gonna and then later I'll just snip this off. I always use this method when I'm using just a small piece of floss for a couple of stitches. And then the other method I use all the time is the loop method. What do you use? Is there anything I've not heard of? Okay, where are you? There. So tomorrow, we're going to watch the kids do gymnastics before Bob goes to work, which will be fun. It's kind of fun to watch them. So, this is so bluebell. Maybe that's what this reminds me of, a bluebell. Yeah, I think that's what this looks like, a bluebell. Yeah. A bluebell. Okay, I can't think of anything else to say. And cut this little knot off. There. What do you think of our stitching today? I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm going to leave that here for today. I hope you have enjoyed stitching along with me, and let me know if you like this better or do you like the live, and we'll see what we can do for next week. But until then, I'll see ya.